Hello everyone and welcome to another Spec War video brought to you by James from mysmarterhome.com. A Spec War is my product comparison video. Today I'm comparing 5 of the top selling Wi-Fi multicoloured smart bulbs against the top selling and top rated Hue bulb. And the 5 contenders are: firstly LiFX, secondly MagicLight, thirdly Flux, fourth Lohas, and fifth Upstone. I even tried to include a Wi-Fi multicoloured bulb made by a company called LiFX, but there wasn't enough detailed information, and since it was launched last month it had over 60 reviews at a rating of 4.9 out of 5, which to me is just a little bit too suspicious. This video has 9 different sections, and they are: Section 1, the different ways to control a smart light. Section 2, basic specifications. Section 3, fittings and features. Section 4, connections and power. Section 5, design and warranty. Section 6, smart settings. Section 7, app and browser access. Section 8, smart home systems. And Section 9, reviews and ratings. These sections are listed below this video, and so to move quickly between them, click or tap on the different times that you see. So let's get stuck in. The ways that smart lights can be controlled. Before I get into a detailed analysis of all the specifications for each of these smart lights, let me just give you a brief explanation about the different ways that smart lights have tended to connect and be controlled. All of the lights in this comparison connect to our home Wi-Fi networks. Many smart bulbs connect to Wi-Fi networks, but there are other smart bulbs for sale that connect using Bluetooth or a smart hub. The Hue lights, for instance, connect to a smart hub. Regardless of the type of wireless technology, either using Wi-Fi, Bluetooth or smart hub used by a bulb, they all use either a smartphone and/or a tablet as a means of controlling them. But because of the pace of change in the smart home sector, phones and tablets are not the only way that smart devices are now being controlled. Although it's still very much in its infancy and it's still quite limited, voice is being used as a means of control as well. Amazon led the way with the Echo, and Google is hot on their heels with Google Home. So let's go to section 2, which is basic specifications. The 5 other bulbs in this comparison are all made by different companies, and they are all new startups compared with Philips, the maker of Hue. And all of these companies currently only make smart lights and nothing else. The newest light, Upstone, was launched a few months ago in April 2017. MagicLight was first for sale in February of 2017. The oldest light, the Flux, was launched in January 2016. The other lights were launched at the end of last year, 2016, in November and October. The 2 heaviest lights in this comparison are Flux and MagicLight, which are 8.8 ounces. The LiFX bulb is 7.8 ounces, the Upstone is 4.8 ounces, and the Lohas is 4 ounces. The Hue light is only 1.8 ounces. There are no surprises here in that there is very little difference between these bulbs in terms of their dimensions. They are pretty much the same depth and width at about 2.5 inches. The only exception to this is the Hue bulb, which has a depth and width of 3.1 inches. Most of the bulbs are about 4.5 inches long. The exceptions to this are the Hue bulb, which is 5.9 inches long, and the Flux, which is 5.7 inches long. Prices are always changing, so just be careful to double check. At the moment, the LiFX bulb is the most expensive at about $53. The Upstone is the cheapest at around $18. The Hue is about $45, the Flux is $38, MagicLight is $35, and the Lohas is $22. As we move on to section 3, fittings and fixtures. All of the bulbs in this comparison are colour, and they're capable of producing over 16 million different colours. All of these bulbs are energy saving LEDs, and all of these bulbs have a screw fitting and they are size E26. All of these bulbs are software dimmable. That means they can be dimmed using the free app that needs to be downloaded for each of them. None of these bulbs are compatible with traditional dimmer switches that some of us may have in our houses. The Hue has its own dimmer switch that can be purchased separately and works specifically with Hue bulbs. Section 4 is connections and power. All of these bulbs use Wi-Fi to connect, apart from the Hue, which connects to its own smart hub. Since all of these bulbs are LED, they are energy efficient. The bulbs are low wattage, shown in blue, but they also have an equivalent rating compared to traditional bulbs, which is the figure shown in pink. LiFX is the brightest at 75 watts. 3 bulbs are 60 watts, the Flux, Lohas and Hue. The MagicLight is the least powerful with only the equivalent of 40 watts. Lumens is the measure of the amount of total visible light. The higher the lumens, the brighter a bulb is. In my comparison, the bulb with the highest lumens is the LiFX, which has 1100 lumens. 3 of the bulbs have 800 lumens, the Flux, Lohas and Hue. The MagicLight only has 450, and the Upstone I'm not sure about because I couldn't find any details out about it. Section 5 is design and warranty. The life expectancy of a bulb is expressed in years and hours. The number of years that a bulb can be expected to work for is calculated by dividing the number of hours by 365, which of course is the number of days in a year, and then by dividing that number by 3, because the calculation is based on a light being used for 3 hours every day. One light in this comparison has a huge life expectancy of 30,000 hours or 25 years, and that is the Lohas. 3 of the lights have a life expectancy of 25,000 hours or 20 years, and that's the Hue, the LiFX and the Upstone. The MagicLight and the Flux have a life expectancy of 20,000 hours or 16 years. All of these bulbs are easy to install. Smart bulbs are one of the easiest smart devices to set up and get going. After fitting the light itself, you need to install the app and add the light onto the app. All of these lights have a 2-year warranty apart from the Lohas, which only has a 1-year warranty. And finally, in terms of weatherproof, none of these lights are designed to be used outdoors. They are indoor only lights. Music sync is the ability of a light to respond and react to any music that is playing. There are only 3 lights in this comparison that definitely have this feature: Hue, MagicLight and Flux. In my research for the LiFX, none of the information that I found suggested that it had this feature, and I've got to say that surprises me. I also could not find anything out about the Lohas and the Upstone. The nightlight feature enables a smart light to glow very gently using a peaceful shade at night, which research shows could aid better sleep. The Hue, MagicLight, Flux and Lohas have this feature. Again, I could find nothing in my research which suggests that the LiFX bulb has this, but if any of you know differently, then please tell me in the comments. The sunrise mode enables a light to gradually brighten in the morning, just as the sun itself does. Only one bulb in this comparison doesn't have the sunrise mode, and that's the Upstone. The sunset mode enables a light to gradually dim in the evening, just as the sun does. All of the lights in this comparison have this feature, again apart from the Upstone. The number of bulbs tells us the maximum number of smart lights that can be used on the same network. As you can see, this information was not available for every light. The Hue, which uses its own smart hub, should only have 50 lights connected per hub. Up to 35 LiFX lights should be connected to one Wi-Fi network, and up to 50 fluxes can be connected to one Wi-Fi network. For all the other lights in this comparison, I could not find the specific information. Group control is the ability to divide up your collection of lights into smaller groups and to control groups of lights instead of just individual ones. 4 of these lights can be grouped: Hue, LiFX, Flux and Lohas. I also wanted to find the maximum number of lights for each light that can be grouped together. Unfortunately, the only information that I could find was for the Flux light that allows groups of up to 5 smart lights together. Section 7 is all about the apps and browser access. In this section I will provide more details about the apps that each of these lights needs in order to control them. The top smart bulbs tend to be controlled by apps which have been made by the manufacturer of the lights themselves. So in my selection, the Hue, LiFX, MagicLight and Flux have apps made by the manufacturers. In my chart I've added the name of the app because sometimes there are so many apps with very similar names that if you just search for the manufacturer you get too many options. Lohas and Upstone use third-party apps. If you want to control your smart lights using an Apple device, then for the Hue, LiFX or LiFX bulb, your iPhone or iPad will need to be running version 9 or later of iOS. Lohas and Upstone need your device to be running iOS 8 or later. MagicLight or Flux need iOS 6 or later. Moving on to Android, as is often the case, the requirements here for each bulb is different. This is because there is such a huge variety of Android devices. Hue needs your device running 4.4 or later. Upstone and Lohas need your device to be running 4.1 or later. MagicLight needs 4.0 or later. The Flux app can run on much older devices and only needs versions 2.3.3 or later. The requirements for the LiFX app vary by device. Because so few people have phones running Windows, it is not very often that an app is specifically made for this platform. If you have Hue lights, then you can use a third-party app on your Windows phone. LiFX created a Windows mobile app, but they have just announced that they will not be developing it or supporting it anymore. None of the other smart lights in this selection have apps for Windows phones. Many of the top smart devices allow them to be controlled via an online account that can be accessed via a browser on a laptop or a desktop computer. However, none of these smart lights allow access via a browser. Section 8 is all about smart home systems. Although smart lights are fun and useful gadgets in their own right, they become even more attractive if they can work with other smart devices in a smart home. Just like humans, in order for any device to work properly with each other, they all need to be speaking the same language or be using the same smart home system. Because the smart home market is so large and so lucrative, there are many different systems available. And so in order to get as many users as possible, devices such as lights need to work with more than one system. There is a vast number of different systems available, and I include only 6 in my comparison. Remember, any Hue bulb must be connected to its own hub before it can connect to any of the systems described below, and the Hue hub needs to be purchased separately. Overall, it has to be said that compatibility with smart home systems for these lights is very limited. IFTTT, or If This Then That, is a website and app that allows devices to respond and interact with one another automatically via applets. An applet contains a set of instructions or rules that outline the circumstances under which 2 or more devices respond. Only the Hue and MagicLight has official support on IFTTT. and by official I mean that there are applets that have been created by the manufacturers themselves, as opposed to applets that are created by individuals. It is worth noting that if you like messing around with devices and tampering with a bit of code, then you would probably really enjoy using If This Then That. All 6 of these devices work with the Amazon Alexa and Echo system. Alexa is a digital assistant that enables smart devices to respond to voice commands via interactive speakers such as the Echo. The Echo is rapidly evolving into an important smart hub from which many hundreds of devices can be controlled using your voice. The Hue needs to be connected to its own hub first in order to use the Alexa system, but for all the other devices you can connect to and use Alexa via the Alexa app on your phone. Google Home is Google's equivalent to the Amazon Echo. The Flux is the only light that is not compatible with Google Home. And just like Echo, Hue lights need to be connected to its own hub first in order to use the Google Home system. But for all other devices, you can connect to Google Home via the Google Home app on your phone or your tablet. Only 2 of these lights will connect with Apple HomeKit. Hue lights will connect to Apple HomeKit, but they must be connected to its own device first, and the LiFX Smart Bulb will connect directly to HomeKit via the HomeKit app. Wink is one of the most used smart home systems worldwide, and only Hue lights will work with it. SmartThings is another very popular and well-used system, and only 2 devices are compatible, the Hue and the LiFX. Section 9, Reviews and Ratings. To finish the video, we will look at the ratings and reviews that these smart lights have received on Amazon. What I've tried to do is show some of the most helpful statistics. To state the obvious, these numbers will change on an almost daily basis, but I think that the overall trends that these numbers reveal will not change that much. 5 of these lights have a rating of 4 or higher, which is impressive. Upstone has a rating of 4.5 and Hue is 4.4. Lohas has 4.3, MagicLight is 4.2 and Flux have a rating of 4 out of 5. There are 2 numbers in the written review category. The number in black shows the total number of written reviews, and the number in pink shows the average reviews which are written every month since the products have been released. This number I think helps to make the comparison much fairer. And so if we focus on the pink numbers, the MagicLight has on average 82 reviews written per month, which is way ahead of its next competitor, which is LiFX, with 41 reviews per month, and closely followed by Flux with 39. The Hue only has 7 reviews written on average per month, which is surprisingly low. For answered questions, again, there are 2 numbers in this category. The number in black shows the total number of answered questions, and the number in pink shows the average number of questions that have been answered every month since the products have been released. Once again, in first place is MagicLight by a considerable margin. It has slightly over 40 questions answered per month. Way behind it, but in a cluster of their own, is the Hue, LiFX and Flux bulbs, which have slightly more than a dozen questions answered each month. The percentage of reviews which are rated as 5-star is an important indicator of satisfaction. The higher this percentage, the more satisfied buyers are. For the top smart products, this percentage tends to be in the 70s or 80s. The Upstone is in a surprising first place with a massive 83% of all of its reviews rating it as 5-star. Next is Hue on 74%, closely followed by Lohas on 70%. The lowest is the LiFX light on 51%, and the Flux also has a disappointing 56%. In contrast, the percentage of reviews which are rated as 1-star is an important indicator of dissatisfaction. The higher this percentage, the more disappointed buyers are. For the top smart products, this percentage tends to be 5% or lower. Hue bulbs lead the way on a tiny 4% of all reviews. Next comes MagicLight at 6%, then Upstone at 7% and Lohas at 8%. In a last place with a very high 18% rating is LiFX. FakeSpot analyses a product's review on sites like Amazon and gives them a reliability grading. The reason for this is that many companies pay people to write positive but fake reviews about products in order to boost the product in Amazon's rating system. The higher the grade, the more trustworthy that the reviews are. It is the same grade system used on old school reports. 2 of these lights have an A grade. This means that over 90% of all the written reviews are deemed to be very genuine, and these lights are the Hue and MagicLight. The Flux and Upstone have a B grade. This means that over 80% of the written reviews are deemed to be genuine. And finally, the Lohas and LiFX lights have a C grade, which means that only 75% of all the reviews are genuine. This means that 1 in every 4 reviews written is most probably a fake, and that's a bit worrying. And that's it for my spec war. Thanks for watching this review of the Hue versus LiFX versus MagicLight versus Flux versus Lohas versus Upstone. I hope that my comparison will help you decide on your next Wi-Fi multicoloured smart light. And if you have any questions, please ask me. If I've made a mistake, please tell me. Or if you have any ideas for my next review, please let me know.